Met Adonis over here and talked to him, and he presented this to us, and I think it's a really good idea, and he offered to come up and present it to you guys, and you guys have been going since
February.
So coming in this thing, you're on like the ground floor of this, so this is a new opportunity here that I think is going to be real helpful to you. So he's going to floor for an hour. Then after that, they're going to be set up out in the way breakfast. They're going to set up out there. They're going to be here today and tomorrow both. Make sure you stop by and see them out there, and he'll explain more about that. So, Thomas, the floor is yours.
So before I go up, does everyone have either a brochure or a flyer? Everyone? Is anyone missing one? Yeah. So is anyone missing either a brochure? Okay. 4 more left. So if anyone only has a flyer and want a brochure, has a little bit more information than it does on the flyer. So.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, I want to thank Austin, Gary, and all of you for having me. I genuinely appreciate your receptiveness, and I'm excited to talk about myRE360. So just a little bit about me. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical Mechanical Engineering. I am Six Sigma Green Belt certified. I am Lean Engineering certified. I worked at NASA as an aeronautical engineer. I worked at Caterpillar as a test engineer. I worked at Boeing as a quality assurance engineer. Boeing again in LA as a satellite antenna design engineer. Lockheed Martin as a reliability engineer. Lockheed Martin again as a rocket propulsion test engineer. I am the founder and director of operations for Lockett & Holmes since 2011. Lockett & Holmes is a national real estate investment company that has a credit improvement division. We are a real estate brokerage, mortgage brokerage, and hard money lender. I have personally purchased and sold over 100 houses personally in the last 5 years. I have wholesaled over 75 houses in the last 2 years. I've purchased 3 apartment complexes. I have participated in over 400 hard money loans in the last 3 years, and I am the principal and director of what is myRE360. Right. I wanted to.
Sigma thing you got going on there.
Right. Thank you. So I wanted. What's that?
Your disc profile.
My who?
No, I didn't know your disc profile.
So I heard you guys.
He hasn't hired us yet, right?
Right. I said, I was like, man, I hope you don't ask me about my high C's and low D's, because I don't.
That's what he's asking you, right?
Right. So bear with me. Next time around, I'll have that together for you.
We'll have it at lunch.
But I mentioned my background to tell you that what I've realized is that there is a vast disconnect in technology and real estate. I actually quit Lockheed Martin in 2011 as a rocket propulsion test engineer to launch my real estate investment firm, and the disconnect between the real estate industry and technology is agonizing, and that's what prompted me to initially conceptualize myRE360 and ultimately launch it earlier this year. So just kind of give you guys some perspective about how we got to this point right now, right? So and here's the thing, this presentation is not just me talking, I'm going to be interactive, so if I ask a question, you guys are quiet, I'll stand here and we'll just look at each other until you answer, all right? So I wanted to keep the room kind of engaged. It's going to be a little bit of education, a little bit interactive, but we definitely want you guys involved with this. So typically, just throw it out there, what's needed for a successful real estate transaction? Start throwing them out there. Seller.
Deal. Money.
How about a strategy?
Yeah.
The know-how, right? A team, right? Obviously the deal. Just give me 1 or 2 more. Something that typically most people don't even bring up. Systems. Project management system. You ask a room of 10 people, 1 person will recommend a system or process, right? What myRE360? myRE360 is pretty much is the future of real estate investing. We're going to automate real estate investing to a simple push-button concept. myRE360, you can learn the business, build your real estate team, find a deal, and manage a project at the push of a button, okay? We have a unique concept with our users, all right? So what we do is each user on the platform will have a public profile. Public profile will allow them to pretty much convey what it is they do as a real estate professional, and we will then verify to make sure that that is a legitimate user and, more importantly, a legitimate real investor. So for anyone who's ever wholesaled a deal, have you ever tried to wholesale a deal to someone that was a rock star up until when it got time to perform and then they kind of backed out on you? Right? When they met you, they were singing everything you wanted to hear leading up until it was time to get busy. So what we decided to do was come up with a way that we want to know who I'm doing business with before you take me to the 12th hour, right? So what we decided to do is come up with a concept that will show each user badges. We'll have badges showing each person's professional accomplishment. So I've wholesaled 75 deals. Who in here can vouch for that? No one. Now, what if there was a way for you to check my resume to know that I've actually wholesaled 75 deals? That's what the badges does. So every time you actually reach milestones in your professional career, you get a badge. So if anyone ever wanted to spot check the validity of anything I'm saying, you log on, you can see my badges showing my professional accomplishments. You can also see other investors' user ratings showing their experience in working with me. I'm a hard money lender. I may be the best or the worst lender that's ever existed. You never know. But the power of referral, right? Why is it so important for us to get referrals? Because of credibility. Yep. So right now, let me grab your social security number real quick. Right. Now, what if Gary told you that I'm a hard money lender, I do 0 points origination, 3% interest, and I'll fund your deal for 36 months, and if you need another 3 years, I'll fund you another 3 years. Now, let me get social security number so I can fund your deal. You see how in an instant, a laughable notion became crazy for him not to give me his information for me to fund his deal. Right. All for the power of credibility. So what this does is offer credibility. If someone refers you, Gary referring you to me, based off of Gary's referral alone, I am instantly more credible than if I just walked up to you in the lobby. Right. That sound about right? Yeah. That's what this does. It allows other people to provide credibility to the people that you want to work with. Okay? So, first part is education. Learning the business is the most important thing that you can do, regardless of what business you're in. Real estate, consulting, whatever. You need to know what you're doing to be successful in your craft. That sound about right? What the platform does is allow you to, in an instant, log on and learn any aspect of the business at your discretion right from the platform, right? So that means that you can receive daily and weekly tips from educators you're interested in following. You can watch videos on each subject at your discretion. You can access the educational content 24 hours a day. I want to pause real quick. I just asked Gary on Saturday to become our first national educator, and he has agreed and accepted, so I want to So the concept is, for anyone who was not able to make this meeting, there's a lot of information that may have been missed. What if you could log onto the platform and capture everything that you were not able to see here right from the platform at your discretion, right? So here's what that looks like. So when you log onto the platform and you want to get educated, you can search by topic, by educator, or just what's new in your local market. So if you've met Gary told you I'm an educator that talks about building business, I can log on here, search Gary, find him, and I can start learning from Gary right away. I don't have to wait till the next breakout session or the next seminar. I can actually start following Gary on a daily basis, okay? You wanna, so essentially, you wanna learn by topic, you wanna learn by educator, you wanna learn what's new. So any aspect of the business, you're gonna learn from local educators that are doing business in your local market. So me coming out of Dallas, I can't tell you how to wholesale in Chicago. I really don't know. I can tell you the basics and the core, but as far as for how to flip in downtown Chicago versus suburban Chicago, I just don't have that insight. We bring local educators in to teach you how to flip in your local market. We bring national educators in on the platform to teach you how to grow a big business. So you get the best of both worlds at your discretion. Make sense? All right. So you want to search by topic, whatever it is that you're interested in. Once you select the topic, you're going to then start watching 1, 2, 3 minute videos about wholesaling 101, fix and flipping 101, building your business 101, all the way up to the most advanced versions of that particular subcategory. So any part of the business you want to learn, you click on it and you start watching videos. You have access to that content, written and video, at your discretion. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. We also send out educator tips of the week, tips of the month. So if Gary wakes up and have an aha moment, you can know about it through his tip of the month. You log on, boom, you'll see Gary's face. Guys, I had a brilliant idea, X, Y, and Z. You just caught Gary's aha moment the very next day. So you get emails, you'll get updates on different tips of the week, tips of the month from an educator or a subject that you're following. All right? You decide that you want to learn wholesaling. You click on the link, you'll see a video introduction from the educator, and then you can actually start following through the modules. All right? So you learn at your discretion, at your pace. Anything that you ever missed, you can just log back in and capture. All right? So that's our education team. That's the education piece of this. You can literally learn as much and as often as you want right at your discretion. So now that you've learned the business, you now need to build your team. What is building a good real estate? Why is building a good real estate team important? Just throw some out. Scalability, specialization, invite. Keep going. Any more?
Duplicate yourself.
How about helping you avoid costly mistakes? A good team can help you avoid making us egregious errors. Does that sound about right? Teach you things while working your project. We all started from somewhere. None of us jumped into any business knowing. So a good team can actually be good teachers as well, right? So you want to take stock in putting together a good team. Improve your operation by implementation of tricks of the trade. Scalability. GCs will tell you how to cut corners without cutting corners. And hard money lenders will tell you how the best way to vet your deal. So a good team will help you kind of get familiar with the do's and don'ts. Obviously save you money, provide additional resources to help you grow your business. And can someone complete this statement? If you're the smartest person in the room? Exactly. I am never the master of my craft when I am involved in a team. If I'm smarter than a team member, then I don't have the right team. I always make sure that whoever is part of my team is better at what they do than me. That comes at a cost. But a lot of people, especially when you're starting out, don't understand. The cheaper the cost to save you that penny always costs you $1. So pay for quality people and make sure that whoever's on your team knows more about whatever it is that you're doing than you do. All right? So what does building a team on the platform look like? So, any of you ever attended an expo, real estate expo, or any other type of expo? Why do we go to expos? So we can meet vendors and different trades of that craft. What myRE360 does is pretty much take an expo and put it online. So you can search through a list of local vendors, and you can sort through badges showing their professional accomplishments. You can read their professional profile. You can see those vendors' user ratings of other investors' experience with those vendors. So you can also search if they are a myRE360 verified vendor. So essentially what that means is if I'm new to the business, I can literally build my real estate team at the push of a button. Title company, lender, GC, real estate agent, insurance company, property management company. I can log on, sort through them, search through a list of vendors, and hit select. I've just built my entire team in a matter of moments. Right? Again, the user ratings. You can go through and read the different investors' experience with each vendor. Credibility. So you literally built your entire team right online at the push of a button. Make sense? All right.
Real quick,
Yes.
so the reviews, the ratings, that's built by the users of myRE360?
So,
How does that guy's circle get a 5-star rating?
so the beauty about that is these come from other users on the platform. So if all of you registered and started working with different insurance companies, you provide these ratings. So these ratings don't come from vendor sourced reviews.
Got it.
These are ratings for other investors in the market, right?
Cool.
So, yes.
So I got two questions, and those are like my biggest issues with the rating factors. You said the badges that you have for experiences, right?
Right.
So how do you myRE360
myRE360.
right verify that these people have done it? Because for example, when I wholesale and if I actually assign the contract, I don't appear anywhere, so there's no closing statement that shows my corporate name. 1, 2, if I buy in a trust and I assign that trust or I sell that trust, I'm not gonna appear anywhere. That's two. And three, if I actually buy under a corporation and I sell the corporation to prevent certain tax defaults, then now there's three avenues that I'm also trading these assets, and I'm not gonna be basically, there's nowhere to track me.
So, great question, first of all. So first thing is, most wholesalers do get an assignment fee on the HUD, on the 1300 section miscellaneous on our wholesale fee, in which it identifies your company or you as the person who's getting paid out. Now, if you and the seller, buyer have side dealings, then we have, our back office has ways to vet out the contracts to make sure that if you're getting compensated or anything like that, preceding you getting on the platform. Once you start closing deals on the platform will monitor to make sure that someone on the other end of the transaction has acknowledged that you've closed the deal. So the bulk of your verification comes from dealings on the platform, not off.
Okay.
We use the verification, the myRE360 Verify Seal allows us to see previous business that you've done, to know that you've done a handful of deals. That's how you become verified.
Gotcha.
So a combination of previous deals and doing a deal on the platform means that we know you've done a deal previously, and you've actually done a deal on the platform in which we can vet, source, and then provide badges and your user rating. So we have a few layers of validation, both from buyers, wholesalers, and vendors, to make sure that the ratings are actual real ratings from people who are doing business with them, and the badges they earn are actually coming through the platform that can be vetted.
Right. And then the other one that I have, for example, my personal experience with the BBB. So, once you have these rating companies or ways to rate people, the BBB allows you to get rated, or if you pay, you get rated better or worse, depending on what you pay as a member.
Right.
I'm asking this question for you is, sometimes you get a client or someone you do business with that just didn't like it the way things turned out for them, for
Right.
whatever the reason may be.
Right.
So you got a lien on a property, or there's an issue with the property, and you're like, look, this is the price I'm going to pay, and the person selling it to you or buying it from you is like, no, I need to renegotiate or whatever, and you're like, no. So they didn't get what they want, but they go on here and they bash you for it.
Right.
So the question is, where do you limit what information you're going to put there, and if there's anything there, is there a process to kind of like help you kind of
Right.
fix it, I
So
guess? I don't know.
That's a great question. So a common issue I have as a lender, right, is I will present terms based off something you told me. I'll come back, do my underwriting to find out that you don't have a 700 credit score, you got a 610. That you haven't flipped 30 deals, you just knew someone that did and you walked the house with them. So you don't have the credit experience. So now I have to tell you, your terms have changed. And now you go and tell your friend, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing. We have ways to vet out like the feedback. We also allow, whenever there's a bad rating, we also have back behind the scenes dialogue to get an understanding of where a bad rating comes from. So we have algorithms that are going to be in place where if you have an unverified, inexperienced user giving you a bad rating, that's going to have much less weight than a verified, user who has a handful of deals done that has a different rating. So we'll make sure that there's a checks and balances to make sure that your bad rating doesn't come from someone who doesn't understand the process, or that comes from kind of a misdirection. Make sense? Yes.
Yeah. to add to what you're saying, and for Felix, I mean, how many of us have done a deal where it's going to 100% right every single time? So having the ability of having bad reviews, and we all try to cover them up. I own them, and we just respond to them because I don't want a 5. I don't want a 5 in anything that I do. I want a 4 point whatever to show that I do make mistakes. I'm a real person, and I do have the ability to, so if we get a BBB review that I don't like, I respond to it and I ask all their questions and take action on it. So I think having that is.
And think about, just like, because I heard you mention the BBB a couple times, just like the BBB, if someone leaves a bad review, you can publicly issue a response. Now, we'll monitor to make sure there's no kind of anything inappropriate, but if someone says, man, this lender doesn't know what they're doing, we give that person an opportunity to say, well, in fairness, the information you provided was inaccurate, so our terms changed. So it brings a little bit of balance to the information that goes out there. Now, another question that's come up was, well, if 3 people give me a bad rating, then I just won't be on the platform. And in fairness, our response is great. If you're doing bad business to the point where 3 or 4 different people are giving you bad ratings, then maybe you're not the quality of the user that we want on the platform. And I have no problem telling anyone that who has concerns about multiple people giving them bad ratings, because if 3 or 4 people are saying that I'm doing a bad job, it's probably not you, it's probably me. So we do have a fair checks and balance, and we are prepared for a fair amount of user rejection. But a point of this is when you log on, you want quality vendors, quality buyers, and quality wholesalers. So if that's what the platform is limited to, we're A-okay with just having that user base. Any other questions? All right. Yes.
One more. How many current subscriptions do you have?
So in Chicago, in this area, we decided on Saturday to launch here today. So you are the inaugural users that are going to come on board in this area.
What about nationwide?
So right now, we initially launched in Dallas back in March. We're about 700 users-ish in Dallas. DC, Baltimore area, we're about 300-400, and we just did a hard launch in Atlanta on Saturday. And on Saturday alone, how many did we come up with?
It was a few hundred.
So, we have a handful of users, but again, you guys are getting this on the ground floor. So right now, you are the first wave of the Midwest, all right?
You first launched was where?
Dallas.
How many users are there? About?
Just a little over 700.
When did you first launch?
March 1st, or first week of March.
Of 18?
Yes.
Wow.
No, yeah, this year.
Great work.
Thank you. All right. Any other?
One more.
Yes.
So local market, Chicago, what's your target? Surrounding area, Chicagoland area. You launch, how many users do you see in a 12-month period?
12-month period?
Yeah.
My goal is 500 users in the first 60 days. And I'm gonna explain to you a little later on how we're gonna get to 500 users in 60 days. Okay? All right, so any other questions? All right. So, you've learned the business, you've logged on, you've learned 1, 2, and 3 about real estate. You then transition over, you've built your team by pushing a couple buttons in a matter of minutes. So now that you've built your team, we now are going to start looking for deals. So typically where we find our deals, MLS, wholesalers, real estate agents, Craigslist, investment clubs, online forums, email distribution lists from wholesalers you've met. Sound about right, correct? So a lot of our deal sourcing comes from half dozen different avenues, right? What if every wholesaler in your region funneled their deals right to this platform? So the goal is the platform does not cultivate deals, at least it didn't initially when we get to that. This platform funnels all of the wholesalers in your local market, and they post their deals here. So when you post your deal on the platform, you'll be able to see that the deal itself is a verified deal. So I don't know about you, I've been part of a lot of bait and switch tactics in which someone will post this phenomenal deal, I'll call them, the deal has mystically sold, but let me get your name and phone number so I can add you to my email distro list. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Right. Oldest trick in the book. If you're clickbaiting for a buyer's list, we give you the boot. If your deal isn't authentic, we give you the boot. So that's the whole point of the verified deal. We make sure that you have a real deal that you're putting on the platform. So again, you can see the seller's user ratings, you can see the seller's badges. So if I see a seller who has 4.5 stars, 13 reviews, and 4 badges, it's a good chance he's a highly credible seller. The guy that's doing real volume is putting out real deal and that the market is responding to, right? Another cool concept about this is that you can search your deal criteria by location, projected profit you want to make, purchase price, rehab amount, whether they're a verified seller, vendors that have been on the deal. Every vendor has the opportunity to go and solicit their service on the deal page, meaning that I as a lender, if I'm scrolling through and I see a deal in Chicago, I as a lender can suggest my services on that deal. So if I'm logging on, if I'm a general contractor, and I heard someone was doing a lot of, I think you were doing a lot of volume as a GC. Let's say you decide to make your GC operation a service-based, you wanna actually become a GC. You can actually log on to different deals and markets that you're interested in and suggest your GC services. So as a buyer, I can log on, I can see the seller's resume, and I can see how many lenders or general contractors have suggested their services on my deal. Why is that important? If 5 lenders have said they'll lend on my deal, there's a good chance my ARV has some credibility. If 4 GCs said that they'll take on my project for renovation, it's a good chance that their renovation number has some credibility. The point about it is, for a buyer, if 5 lenders and 4 GCs have said, I'll take on that deal, it's a good chance it's a pretty decent deal. At least the numbers seem to check out. Make sense? If I'm a wholesaler and 5 lenders have said they'll lend on my deal, 4 GCs said that they're going to GC my deal, buyers can't argue with me about my numbers because the market has spoken and said my numbers are accurate. You see how it provides credibility for me as a seller, how it provides reassurance for you as a buyer, and as a vendor, it allows me to secure new business from deals that I'm actually interested in working on. It's full circle. Make sense? Oh, 360. See what I did there? All right. So, yes.
Sorry, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So, are we gonna be able to, like, block out specific elements of this, people presenting deals?
What do you mean?
Because, well, there's been another thing like this before that I was part of, and, you're in Dallas, so you know Net Worth, New Western.
Right.
So it just got inundated with those guys, and they're a complete waste of my time.
Right.
So all I could see were their deals.
Were their
I couldn't-
deals. So-
I couldn't see everybody else's deals, so I had no way to get them out of my way, so I just stopped using the platform.
Correct. So, and I'm not in the market to say anything bad about those guys. I bought a ton of deals from both of those guys. However, we are aware of.
They serve a purpose, just not for me.
Correct. And we are aware of the wholesalers that will take any and everyone's deal and drop it on the platform. We do have limits for certain major chains or certain volume for certain user types because of we're aware of their business model. So essentially, if you're the guy that takes everyone's deal, slap your fee on it and puts it out there, and it's kind of a deal that we make sure that the deals that you're getting are quality, similar to the vendors you're taking on and buyers and sellers that you're working with. So we have provisions in place to make sure that the deal pays does not consist of 1 or 2 companies, you know, the bulk of their deals.
Is there
Make
a way
sense?
for me to just say, I don't wanna see anything from this person? Or this group?
We don't have that now, but you know what we could do? Can you make a note?
I took a
We
note,
can
yeah.
we're gonna add the option to block particular
Cause if I
wholesalers.
determine you're a waste of my time, I don't have time to deal with that. It's either stop using the platform, because that's all I see.
Right.
Or get you out of my way so I can see what I
Lauren,
want.
can we document that? Add, block, wholesalers that you're not interested in?
Yeah.
Boom. See, you just helped us innovate. So, as of 10 seconds ago, yes, you can actually block. You can block.
As of 10
wholesalers.
seconds ago, some point in the future, you may be able to.
Innovation happens.
You will.
Right.
So we will actually write that requirement in. You can block wholesalers that you're just not interested in seeing deals from. So this way you can log on and only see what you're actually interested in searching through. Thank you for that. I got you a drink for it. All right, any other questions?
Cream pizza.
All right, so I'm swimming through the deal. I'm interested in this deal. I click on the deal, all right? So now I can see the seller's badges and their user rating. So it gives me an idea of who I'm working with. I then can see how many GCs have expressed their interest in the deal. I can see how many lenders have expressed their interest in the deal. Let me tell you where this gets good. So if I'm looking through my deals and I already got my team, and I see a GC with 4.5 stars, 50 million badges, he's doing something right. That may be a guy that will help me scale. That may be a company that will help me grow. That'll put me in positions where I've talked about doing, but they're actually doing it. And let me tell you what I mean by that. These badges show the professional accomplishments by the vendor. So if I'm a lender and I can lend on land, there's a badge for it. Commercial, multifamily, there's a badge for each one of those. If I'm a GC and I do new construction, there's a badge for it. Multifamily, there's a badge for it. So without ever speaking to any of these vendors, I know exactly what they're doing. I know other people's experience with them, and I know that they're going to be the ones that help me scale. Make sense? Also, as a buyer, if I see that this guy bid on the deal, instantly I feel much more comfortable about the numbers in the deal. If I'm a wholesaler and I see this guy bid on my deal, oh man, nah, price is firm. You see who bid on my deal, come on. This is a local rock star. So for everyone involved, it becomes mutually beneficial. That makes sense? So you can actually request to work with these vendors right from the deal page. All right? Yes.
When I used to buy in the courthouse, there used to be like little groups of people that kind of work together. So when and you just touched on that right now, right? So if so and so bid on your deal, now all of a sudden your deal is worth more or is validated. So how do you know that that's not kind of happening behind the scenes?
What do you mean?
So, for example, I
He's
don't
got a
know.
rock star guy with a bunch of badges that puts it up there, that knows the wholesaler. Now it looks like the deal has more credit than it does, yeah?
Right. So now they're in cahoots where he's getting an extra $1,000 per deal, but this guy's putting up 10 deals a month. So just for going in there to validate it, I'm gonna get $1,000.
Now, mind you, all this is suggestions on the credibility. You still have to do your due diligence. You still have to kind of make the decision on your own. So there are certain things that we will not try to regulate. For example, our goal is to put everyone in the room to shake hands. Now, how that we allow free enterprise to happen. So we don't play, mommy and daddy say no, kids play nice. The user ratings, at some point, if you're doing shady business, that's what the user ratings are for. It'll come to light. It always does.
Right.
So the user ratings keeps the users honest. And if it doesn't up front, it'll always catch up to them. Once you become hip to what's happening, then once that user rating goes out, people will be much more on the lookout for it, whether it be from that vendor or from that wholesaler, right? So the whole point of this is free enterprise. And again, you won't be able to stop everyone from doing shady practices, but consider if there is 500 reviews, someone's going to get hip to what's happening.
Right. So the way I do my deals, I kind of reverse engineer everything. I don't really go out and target a price. I target a buyer. So when I know my buyers are buying the projects at that price, then I go back in and I kind of renegotiate the purchase price with the seller. But that's not for everyone, because some of the buyers or some of the people who are buying will I don't want to wait to see if you can get me that price.
Right.
So here on your platform, how would that kind of play itself out?
Again, the platform does not regulate the interactions. It just makes the introduction.
Okay.
Right? So, and that's why we provide, we provide the means for you all to communicate, because again, we don't middleman correspondence, we don't middleman transactions. You transact traditionally the same way you normally would. We put everyone in the room and just tell you to go. Make sense? All right, so any questions about?
And you're expecting the GC to have gone and looked at the project and they're saying, yeah, the number seems correct?
Whatever way the GC and the wholesaler work that out. So typically it'll be correspondence of, hey, can you send me pictures? Hey, I read the rehab description, can you send me pictures? They'll go to pictures, then they may even agree to go out, or they may just say, yes, I'm interested based off of the description, pictures, and videos. All right? So, again, as I mentioned, right from the deal page, you can create build new real estate teams that are gonna help you scale. All right? You can send a message to those vendors, or you can actually add them to your team. But the coolest concept I think personally about 360 is the notion of 360 in a deal. So who's here has done a transaction, flipped the house or anything like that? So when you get a deal under contract, what's the first thing? Email title, email lender, email GC, email all these people, start the process about what's happening. And every time there's an update, you gotta email a ton of people at some point. What we've done is we've kind of simplified the correspondence to a push button concept, and that's called 360 in a deal. Essentially what that does is, when I get a deal, I can 360 the deal, and my entire team will get an email or a notification specific to their role with the information they need to perform their service. So if I'm a lender, you 360 the deal, I'll get purchase, rehab, ARV. If I'm the GC, rehab and ARV. If I'm the title company, loan amount, insurance company, the amount that needs to be covered. For the real estate agent, the ARV. I push a button, my entire team gets a deal pre-populated with the information specific to their role in the transaction. One button correspondence, distribution to my entire team. So anytime I have updates on the deal, I get 360 the team. So I click a button, hey guys, closing got moved up a week, boom, hit a button, my entire team gets the email. So the beauty about 360 in the deal, 360 in the team, these messages are pre-populated. So you can create pre-populated messages. So instead of having to type, I'm moving the deal along, etc., hit a button, and your entire team gets that correspondence. All right? So one thing that I always ask the room is, what ensures a project is successful? accountability, the unsung hero. You guys said it earlier, a good system, a good
System,
project
processes.
management system or a project management
Right.
tool. So you've learned the business, you built your real estate team, you found the deal. If you all search, whether you have an Android or an iPhone, there is not a real estate project management tool, a project management tool specific for real estate, until right now. We are the first iOS and Android real estate specific project management tool. Our project management tool has a built-in rehab estimator, auto task reminder for notifications, pre-populated pre-purchase and pre-rehab checklists, pre-populated renovation tool, pre-populated post-rehab checklist, push button correspondence to general contractor. Let me explain how our project management tool works. You walk into a house, what are you guys typically using for you that are doing 6 deals? How are you managing your 6 projects?
Google Drive, we use Buildwire, we use
Different things.
yeah, more different ones.
You've done a couple deals, right? What do you use?
I don't have a good answer for you, so I manage my,
Right.
We use Soho.
PCs.
Right.
We use Soho One, which
Soho.
actually gives us milestones through the project,
Okay.
and then it does not allow us to proceed until certain things are met
Gotcha.
within that within milestone.
A couple different answers, right? Now, what if I told you we have a project management tool specific and dedicated only to real estate? Let me explain how that works. When you walk a house, you obviously do a quick assessment of what the rehab is gonna be. We have a built-in rehab estimator. Essentially, you select the project name. You can actually, if you're walking the house that's actually on the platform, you can select the deal right from the platform, drop it in here, and what that'll do is you select the project right from the deal page. It'll auto input the size of the house, so that you can do an accurate assessment of the dollar per square foot for your paint, flooring, and all this good stuff. You can choose market rates or estimated costs. So for me, I know replacing flooring in Dallas for laminate, $2.50 a square foot. Now I know when I'm subbing, when I'm running my own subs, it costs me $1.50 a square foot. So I can use market rates to drive my estimates, or I can customize those rates for those who are heading your own projects, okay? You can customize each line item price. So let's say I know that I'm gonna replace floor and I wanna do something hard, fancy, I can go ahead and put a custom number right in there. You can choose pricing between good, better, or best. So if I'm walking the house and I wanna do rental grade, I wanna do mid-grade, or I wanna do the high quality stuff, I can choose between the quality of the material that's going into the house that's gonna help drive my estimate, right? Then, once I get my numbers, I can save, email, or print. So essentially, I walk a house, I put in the address, the square foot will auto-populate, and all I gotta do is go in and press 1, 2, or 3. Windows need to be replaced, how many windows? Good, better, or best. Flooring, kitchen, countertops, vanities, light fixtures, whatever. You just walk in, 1, 2, or 3, it'll auto-populate to market rates or to your customized rates and give you the estimate for your project. I can then send that estimate over to my agent, lender, GC, or everyone on my team, or particular people on my team. So I literally click, click, click. I now have a project estimated that my entire team can get right from there. Yes.
Question, so if you have acquisitions, people going out to your deals or properties, would they have access to that?
So we have professional accounts where if there's multiple people, you can add different users to it, and they just put the address in. They go through the process, save it, and it'll actually show up in your project management tab. Yes.
Maybe an innovation, do you wanna make a tab down there where you can put a YouTube link into it, so like if whoever's out
Way
there
ahead of
walking
you.
in-
So what you can do is while you're walking the house, take pictures, and there's a category that'll actually house the pictures and house YouTube or your videos that you're uploading. So those same pictures you can send over to your GC, and I'm gonna get to that, to the mid-renovation tool as well. But yes, and you will be able to house pictures and videos right from your project management tool.
Question.
So it is exclusively for the mobile device. We have a desktop version of this. Wait till I get to the app. We're getting there. Yeah.
If you're not in the markets that you're currently in, can you still use this?
Well, the project management tool is available once it goes, we're going live for project management. Hello?
Early next week.
So project management will be available everywhere in every market once we go live.
Where are you sourcing your cost databases?
So what we're doing is we're actually taking the local investor, the use of each market, general contractors, the lenders, the hard money, the agents, and then we're pulling the information to drive consistency to make sure the numbers that are on the platform local to each market is actually what local rates are. So there's a heavy degree of research that goes into populating market rates.
Are you pulling those from Xactimate, or are you pulling them from NCR?
Combination of, because again, those different sources, they may not be up to times of what vinyl plank was going for. Vinyl plank was $1 a square foot when I was doing it 2 years ago. Now it's like $2.50, $3 a square foot. So we make sure that we have an ear to the ground from the local guys doing the GCs, and in addition to the online information. Make sense? So I walk the property, I can actually give my rehab estimate right as I'm walking through the house, save pictures, save the video, okay? I can email it, download it, or print it up right from my device. So now, once I've gotten, and now mind you, the point of the project management tool is to actually walk you through the process and pretty much pre-populate the process to the lowest level of detail. So we have pre-purchase checklists. I've walked the property, I've got my estimate, we agreed that I'm gonna move forward. We actually have a pre-purchase checklist. So the pre-purchase checklist, you select the project right from the property management tool. You then can select task due dates. So let's say I gotta get the contract over the title by Friday. I can select the date, and then all the other corresponding dates will auto-populate based off of settings that you make. So contract goes over the title on Monday, I know I got 3 days for earnest to be delivered. So you can set that, and then these follow-on tasks will auto-populate. So once you set your first reminder, then everything will follow on accordingly. Yes?
So is this checklist pre-populated by you? Where did you come up with this checklist at?
This checklist came from a combination of about 24 general contractors between Dallas, DC, and Atlanta. And this checklist is customizable.
That's what my question. Perfect.
So if you see there's 3 or 4 things that you don't need to do, take it off. If you see 3 or 4 things that need to be added, you can add it. So this thing is supposed to be the ultimate ease of use tool. So once you put a date in, you now everything pre-populates. So you can select different tasks due. You can identify the status of those tasks right from the project management tool, whether it's not started, in progress, or complete. You can input task notes, so anything that's happened. You can also build your team right from the project management tool. So I gotta get my contract over the title, oh snap, I don't have a title rep. I can actually click on vendors, it'll take me to my vendor search page, and I can get a vendor right from my vendor search page. Yes?
Can you add that task, does it get assigned to someone on your team?
You do have the ability to assign it to someone on your team.
Okay.
That's correct. Any questions?
So until we get, like the rest of it into our city or where we're at, for now, we can just use this, right?
You can just use this. So,
Is there a cost difference since we can't fully utilize the entire?
I'm gonna get to the cost of it. But yes, the whole project management tool in its entirety will be available. And the thing is, with vendors, as vendors are being added, these resources will be made available in your local market, right? So now we're getting to the good stuff, the actual rehab tool. So now I can actually take my project that I've done the estimate for, I can import it into my rehab tool. So from there, so I can import it from my rehab estimated tool, and then I can actually create an auto order of the task by where in the rehab phase it occurs. So I can select it by stages, pre-construction, demo, final punch, etc. I can actually order it by milestones that I set. So me, I have a very particular flow for my deal. So I want roof and foundation done first before anything happens. I can actually create and identify where my milestones are. So I can sort it by a system default for the stages or a customized milestone that I set for each task, all right? I can select the due date for each item similar to my pre-purchase checklist. I can identify, it actually identifies the technician type. So if I need a roof replaced, it'll tell me roofer, foundation company, electrician. It actually identifies the technician type that is associated with that particular item. I can change the status of that task. I can identify the percent complete of that task. And as part of identifying the percent complete, it'll itemize out my budget and it'll populate how much of my budget should be paid to the GC based on percent complete. So for those of you who flip the project, your GC wants 30% down, 20% down. And he always wants to be 20% ahead more on pay than progress, right? What happens when your GC decides to take a week vacation on your project? You can't fire him, because he's 15 G's plus on what your budget is. So the only thing you can do is please, please, can you come back? I've done that a million times, right? And the worst part about it is there's nothing you can really do. What this does, it allows me to keep my GC honest. If 50% of the paint is done, why am I paying you $5,000? You're 50%, so should you be at 50% paid? This allows me to walk a house, assign a percent complete, and identify what exactly I should be paying my GC based on my allocated budget for it. Yes.
This is awesome. Would you like me to test it for you?
I would actually.
Alright.
And so what that does is, so if I put
I
that.
know, I have a house I'm supposed to be buying.
This is supposed to be stuff.
So what this does is because a
That
lot
ball's
of
already
times,
started.
this always escapes us. It allows you to keep an eye on what your allocation is versus the money spent. And if you're not managing your project properly, you'll be 15 G's paid on 25% progress for a project that cost you 20K. So this keeps everything honest. So now when I show this to my GC, my first question is, are we really talking about draw when I'm halfway through my budget and you're 20% into the project? And so it's one thing for us to argue about something, but when they see it, there's nothing to argue about when you have this right in front of them, right? The best part about it is that literally I can get a snapshot of everything that's happening on my project, timeliness, budget-wise, progress-wise, right? Anyone have any questions about this? Yes.
So, for example, when I'm running when I'm managing the projects, so I've got my subs and I've got my clients.
Right.
I don't want both of them seeing the same thing. Can I control that here or no?
So this is for you, right? Anytime there's changes made to it, you can send out a screenshot or an export of those changes made real time. So you can have it sent to your team or a specific individual.
Yes, but I'm just thinking a little ahead of not having to go out to the projects. For example, right now I had an install on the roof. The previous roof had about 5 layers of shingle, tar, and everything, so it was a mess to take that off.
Right.
The roofer decided to say, well, I don't want to be here an extra day, so we're just going to cut it off where it's at and basically lay the new roof on top of whatever was left.
Right.
So the roof was all uneven, and there's a section that was huge that you can see there was about probably 4 inches or
Right.
5 on the drop off. Client calls me losing their mind, so they're there now fixing it. Client's not home, I'm here, and I'm telling them to send me pictures.
Right.
But if they can do that here and automatically upload it for me, I can manage projects from the comfort of anywhere in the world.
So let me explain. Let me see, what's the next slide? Okay, so let me explain how that works. So I walk through, so let's say it's draw time. GC's like, hey man, it's Friday, I need to get paid. I'm like, okay, great. So what I can do is I can walk the house, I can input all this information, take pictures, hit a button, my GC will get all of that information because my GC is also on the platform. I can communicate with my GC right from the platform. So draw comes up based off of the milestones I've selected. Hey GC, it's draw time, these 4 things are done, how are we looking? Click a button. He gets that message, he'll say click, 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 property's going great, give me my money, or let me explain it. So he can actually take pictures, hit a button, send it to me, I can scroll through the pictures, say, we need to talk, or hey, everything looks good, and then I can go ahead and facilitate the payment. So I can communicate with my GC or my sub right from the platform, and I can actually have them do a video, because a lot of times these guys will do pictures, not showing you kind of where corners are cut. So I tell my guys, if I'm out of town, I need video. All 4 walls, ceiling and floors, twice over. So this way, they do the video, now they upload it, now I can watch it, put in I'm 100% complete, and I can map out what I'm paying him, and I go ahead and facilitate payment right from the app. Right? Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, but the payment is not, you literally have to go in there and send it. It's not automated.
The payment?
Yeah, like once you hit 100 miles.
Any financial transactions. So you have to go out and however you two are coordinating payments, that happens outside the platform. Okay? But the whole point of this is that I can keep visual, picture and video records on milestones with the progress of the job. Right? Yes.
I think Tahani had a question too.
That was my question.
got it?
The
Okay.
video and photos. Thank you.
Right.
And the videos and pictures are on the platform
Correct. They're
from your
housed.
platform, so it's not gonna take up, you
Any
can
of your
access
phone
it
space.
anywhere. Okay,
Exactly
perfect.
right. So another cool thing too is that once I set my due date, I'll get an update thing. Now mind you, this,
That's a technical term.
now the updates can actually be set for those who use Gmail. You can set the calendar reminder to come to your computer in addition to your phone, also as a push notification on the app. So you can actually have your updates come to your email accounts in addition to a push notification. All right. So I can set my reminders, and I can even set different reminders for tasks within a milestone. That makes sense? All right. Question.
Does this need Wi-Fi? A lot of times we're in buildings where we're not connected to Wi-Fi.
So you have a desktop application or desktop version of this, and it's an app. So as long as your phone has service, you have access to it.
Awesome.
All right.
To piggyback on that further, so if you're in a situation where you don't have internet, but you're populating, putting your information in, once you get,
You know what's funny?
it'll go real time,
It
right?
just dawned on me.
Yeah.
We're gonna create an offline version of this.
Yeah, cause I've been in schools
gotta write
where,
that down.
where the.
I gotcha.
Can someone write that down?
Okay.
So.
Is that another drink? Hey, no,
not for him.
Club soda. A quick
stop
drink.
drinking.
So one thing I will tell you.
He wants a whiskey milkshake.
One thing I will tell you, this is new, so all ideas to help improve this are welcome. But an offline version of this that will auto-populate once you get back in service is a phenomenal idea, and I'm glad I thought of it.
See what happens when you get in a room full of a bunch of visionaries?
Right.
Like on the price tool thing, a way to also like maybe upload, like especially when you guys are doing volume, maybe there's a particular like vanity that you, just so like.
Right, so,
It's.
When you're in the bathroom, I think we went over that.
Okay.
right, so on the rehab estimator, you can choose market rate or you can choose custom rate. So I buy the same vanities, because I buy at 150K less, so I always buy the same vanities. So whatever my custom rate is for my particular vanity, I can actually customize it. I know I'm getting flooring at $1.50, so I can actually go and customize it, so when I walk it, it's actually to my specific pricing. Or I can even go in and select certain line items to be market where the everything else is customization. So the point about this is it's customized to exactly how you want it. Make sense? All right, so we talked about the rehab tool. So then, another cool thing about the rehab tool is that you always have visibility on your total budget, on the amount that's been paid to the GC, and the actual balance remaining in your rehab. So as you're going through this, you can always have a real-time update, snapshots, and always track the history of everything that's happened within that project.
Will
Yes.
it track receipts too?
What's that?
Well, can you put your receipts in there as well?
You can now.
Good, Just honestly, it would just be a picture of the receipt.
No, seriously, are you
Which would
writing
be
it down?
fine, right? I really do.
Yeah, like if the GC can upload their.
Yeah, if they're
Right.
uploading the.
Their pictures, then
invoices and
absolutely.
pictures.
Make it a separate file, please. Don't put it with the.
Oh, no. So what we'll do is we're gonna actually have it set up to where any pictures are uploaded are organized by the day. Any videos organized by the day,
Have a receipt folder.
and the actual receipt folder.
Thank you.
And separate, your documents folder is gonna be organized by the day it was uploaded as well. So your
Oh,
documents,
I love that.
receipts, pictures, videos, all separate, will be housed separately, not in just one, storage. Right, exactly, yes.
Are you able to use vendors that you
It's no
normally use
longer
that are not
M1.
on this platform?
So,
You can recruit
It's
them.
not his.
so that's the actual thing, so here's a cool thing.
So do we get a kickback for that?
So let's say, I just gotta get my lender on this thing, cause this thing is too crazy. When I 360 the team, or I 360 the deal, if they're not on the platform, they'll actually get an email that says, hey, such and such has 360 the deal, and you've been identified as a lender, here's the information specific. So you guys, if your lender's like, I'm not getting on this thing, your lender will still get an email with that information if they're not on the platform. If they are, the notification will come to them through the platform and via the email, or you can communicate with them just by a simple email. So the platform is built for you to interact with vendors that are not on the platform as well. Just throw their email in versus like their ID or something.
So if they reply to that email, the communication
Will come back to you through the platform, exactly.
Okay.
And how about your other subs? Are they gonna be on your team, or are they gonna be as vendors, or how does that work?
So the way they be identified is we actually have a sub. So our vendors have a each subcategory is its own column on the platform under vendors. So you just identify who they are, and then you assign them in the project management tool. So if I'm only dealing with my painter, I can communicate with my painter or all of my subs at the same time.
And only that specific project, you don't see.
Correct. It's specific. Everything is project specific. So you can't do like one mass update over 6 projects. You actually have to go into each project to do any correspondence, like for bulk correspondence.
Do you have communication with them too, also on this?
So all of my subs have to be logged onto this. If you're not gonna be on the platform, you're not my sub. You're not
So
gonna
if
be
I
on
have
part of
a
my
note
team.
for them or something on a specific project or a specific item, they can see it too, we can like communicate back and forth. So I'm kinda comparing it to Asana.
Yeah.
How
So
you
this
do-
is a lot better than Asana.
Is it? Okay.
Asana you have to build yourself,
Okay.
which works, and it's
But you know how you can
clumsy.
chat, you know?
Yeah,
you
so
can
he's
share.
saying you can do the same thing, you can chat within the project.
Like a little live
Got
chat.
that down?
Got it.
So yes, you will be able, that's gonna be part of V1, because she was cringing at me when I was adding some of this stuff on. So Lauren is actually our tech person. So every time I go to a room, I'm like, Lauren, we need to do this. She's like,
That's why she left.
right.
She
And you know,
was like,
so
no
honestly,
more.
I gotta tell you guys, so when Gary invited me up here, I told Lauren, we're expanding in Chicago in 3 days. And she walked away. She was not happy about it. So she spent the last 72 hours preparing for our rollout for today.
Oh my
Process. Right. But so what we'll do is we will make.
She has a high S, he has a low S.
What we'll do is we're gonna create a chat system, but that's gonna be part of like a V1, V2 type of thing. So, and here's the thing I need you guys to understand. My dev team, I told them there are no limitations to what this thing is gonna do. So anything I can conjure up, don't tell me no, just tell me when you can make it happen. So when I say this will be the most robust project management tool that exists, that includes outside of just real estate, but real estate only. So everything you'll ever need this thing to do, this thing will do, because your feedback is what's driving the development.
So we need to change the
You keep saying
name.
real estate only, but I mean, you're covering so many different areas. I mean,
Yeah.
I own a commercial roofing company, commercial maintenance company. I mean, I've got 5 of these different software systems that all overlap on each other and are killing each other.
Right. So I just like the idea of being able to say the first real estate specific project management. I'm sure people are gonna find other applications for it, but if we keep true to that, I feel like we have the ability to corner a major void in the industry. So that's why I personally will keep it specific for real estate, but I definitely expect other commercial, parties to take advantage of it in other ways. All right, so our rehab tool, so visibility to the rehab tool. So again, project management, you have a post-closing checklist, it does all the good stuff, reminders and all the email reminders and all this good stuff. On the platform, it tells you if you have overdue tasks, tells you if you have notifications. So the platform keeps you kind of in the loop. I know stuff always falls through the cracks. Let me tell you why the post-closing checklist is so critical for me. I have paid my GC, walked into a house, he didn't paint the left inner wall of a closet. He forgot a hanging rail. He forgot, something under the sink, something I'd have never thought about unless I was cleaning it way after I paid him. The post-closing post-renovation checklist, did you look inside the closet, on this wall, above the closet, stuff that you'll never think about. These guys don't mean to forget it, but they forget it. My post-renovation checklist will have you doing stuff that is like, you really want me? Yes, we want you to open up the cabinets, crawl under there and make sure that the sink is not missing your drain nut. That make sense? Stuff that you'll never think about, but customers during their inspection will hit you and you have to bring your sub back out to do it. For those of us who've done a handful of projects, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? What if that checklist was there like, oh yeah, that checklist is gonna be so ridiculously extensive you'll never forget anything before you pay your GC again. And here's the worst thing is, when those guys get paid, it is impossible to get them back out timely, right?
Is that checklist on the GC page? Or is
No,
it on-
that's part of your post-rehab checklist.
I know, but before he gets that final payment, he needs to do that checklist.
Correct, so
before-
your GC will have, you and your GC, you can pair your GC up to this, and your GC will have access to this as well. And he'll have limited access for things that you may be subbing out, that you don't want him to see, he'll have limited access for things you don't want him to see.
Adonis, so I'm walking through my process map in my head as I'm going through this whole thing. And there's just one final thing that's in my process map that I'm not seeing yet, and maybe it's there still, but, a waiver of lien.
So,
And signed documents.
we have not started putting out documentations as part of this. We've been back and forth with compliance and legal very extensively about this. I think that's gonna become more of a checklist item versus something that we're gonna provide. So, part of your draw.
And that's fine, even if the post-close checklist, right, even if it's part of that list,
Right,
that's kinda what I'm looking for, is just that trigger,
right,
to remind these guys not to cut that final check
right.
until they have that waiver lien signed.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's on my list already.
So, what we'll do is we'll make that the, milestone 5 or whatever so, here's the cool thing about the customization of, like, the milestones. I'd like to deal in 3 to 4 milestones, right? So, what we can do is we have defaulted, at whatever you select for milestone 3 as your final milestone, there are gonna be certain things that are gonna be default as part of the final milestone. Final punch, final clean, etc. We can actually add that, so if you have 1 milestone or 6 milestones, you're gonna default to 4 things that are always gonna be at the end of whatever milestone that you select as part of your closeout. So we'll add lien waivers to that, but that also includes, final punch, final clean, cleaning, GC, removing all debris from the yard, because that's been a pretty big issue I've had.
I mean, if you want, I can have Susan share with you our process map,
Was that?
our process map for fix and flip,
Uh-huh.
for project management. I have her share that with you so you can look at it and see all the points that your software's hitting and not.
Or I can do one even better. I can actually customize one for your entire team if you guys follow something very specific. So the customization of this tool is endless. It's going to be everything you'll ever need your project management tool to be. All right. So with all of that good stuff, why join myRE360 for buyers? You can find myRE360 verified deals, work with verified sellers, find new vendors, get educated 24 hours a day, manage your project with decades of processes built into a project management tool. If you're a seller or wholesaler, you can work with myRE360 verified buyers. You can have vendors bid on your deal to help credibility. You can refer the buyers to trusted vendors to ensure performance. So that's a big thing too. When I was wholesaling, if you were gonna buy my deal, if someone was willing to go with a lender that I know performed, I would sell to that buyer, even at a lower price than someone I've never heard of. So what I would do is, to your point earlier, every deal that I was wholesaling out, I would name drop my lender right in the email. Hey, look, you don't believe me? Go talk to my lender. He's lending on it, and he'll get you qualified. So every wholesale deal that my company puts out, our lender, will go and bid on that deal because we know if he's bid on the deal, he'll lend on it. As long as the borrower has $5 in the bank and over 500 credit score type thing. So for vendors, you can market your service by bidding on deals you're interested in, create new relationships passively, you can bid on projects and secure new business. For the young lady right here who has 6 projects going on, I would scale up and take on 1 new client, see if I throw my hand at GC in, it's a perfect way to do it. Here's another cool thing about vendors. If I'm a lender and I want to grow into a new market, all I have to do is click on that market, and now I'm in that market. You guys would not believe what the California and Florida-based lenders, what they're able to do. And some of the stuff I heard when other people are up here, there's a lot of money that's available that you guys probably don't even know about. So those guys are going to be growing into these markets, because my job is to make sure companies you've never heard of actually have a hand to lend 90% of purchase price, 100% of rehab at 9%. So those guys, I don't know if they exist here, but your local vendors will get spotlighted, your national vendors will get spotlighted. And educators, right? Educators can provide educational content local or nationally, gain new students and mentorship, promote meetups, and increase following. The reason why I love this for educators is because me, if I want to learn something, imagine having unlimited access to Gary. Literally, every aha moment he has, I know about it a day later, right? Every resource, I heard Gary mentioning all the ways he's gonna connect you to people. Hey, log on to 360, find this person, this person, this person. You can start you can learn from these people without ever having to talk to them based off of Gary's referral. Every name that Gary mentioned, I'm already in talks with for them to be on the platform. If they are anyone in the industry, they will be on this platform. And I think the thing I want everyone to take away from this industry is based on connections, right?
Yep.
We're the only industry that mandates you be connected, but have no way to truly connect everyone. Just consider that for a moment. If you want to know about anyone that Gary knows, you have to funnel through Gary, you have to do an email introduction. Why can't we go to the LinkedIns of the real estate industry? This connects every real estate professional nationwide. Yes.
All right, we're gonna be tuned into every aha moment Gary has. Is there a block for that?
So you can actually set up your tips to be tips of the day, tips of the week, or tips of the month. So if you want to get 5 tips of the day, 1 tip of the week, or a tip every other month, you can customize how often you get your tips of the day, week, or month. So.
Congratulations, Joe. You've asked the question my wife's wanted to ask.
Oh my goodness.
Well, first of all, great job, and your vision's outstanding, and it's well thought out. So I'm interested from a consumer standpoint, but I'm also interested as a vendor standpoint.
All right, so let me pause you right there.
Okay.
I need you guys to do a little bit of pandering, because I had butterflies. Real quick, I'm gonna get to you in a moment, but it just 3 or 4. What do you guys think is the best part of 360? Yes.
Project management tool.
What's
Yeah, I mean,
coming
Gary's
next?
sitting right here.
I mean, the education,
Of course.
What's coming next?
Project man, I don't think that's the best part.
No, whatever's coming next.
Badges. Nah, not the best part.
It's free? What?
For everybody, educators, vendors, wholesalers, buyers, influencers, it's free. That's the best part of myRE360.
How can it be free?
How do you do
How
that?
can it not be free? No. Here's why. Consider this.
Oh, I got goosebumps.
Real estate industry bases success off of what has traditionally worked. There's nothing traditional about this. And because of that, we have to jumpstart everyone's involvement to get connected. If I'm telling you pay for something that you've never done in an industry that mandates stick to traditions, there's a big separation. If it's free, you have absolutely nothing to lose.
How do we share this? Like with?
So we have a very aggressive referral link that we're doing. When you register, for example, you click on a referral, you can actually put a name, an email address, and who the person you're referring to is into the platform. We're going to use, you guys are actually what we're going to use to grow this in this area. So I'm going to ask that everyone provide this to one vendor, one friend, one wholesaler, one buyer, and help us grow this in this area. So you are going to help us grow.
So first of all, I don't think there's about 3 people in this area, in this room. So
Again?
I only think there's about 3 people in this room that's from this area.
Okay,
So you got the whole country in this room.
got it.
So you actually didn't launch Chicago, you launched Phoenix, you launched.
She's having cardiac arrest outside. She just heard it. She just heard it.
So if you're from Chicago, Northwest Indiana, Midwest, raise your hand. All right, so you got a good sampling, right?
You know what, that's about 5 times more than what I expected. So
Okay.
it takes one person to help us grow into that.
But we also have Dallas in the room, we have
I'm not
Charlotte
Charlotte.
in the room, you have Orlando, Florida in the room.
Bristol.
Bristol. I mean, you got a lot of people from around the country in the room.
So with that, what I want everyone to do is to register and take this back to where you are. And here's the thing, I will be very honest with you. You guys are going to be part of our growing pains. We are a tech company. We have growing pains, right? But what I will tell you is that everything that I've told you about, if it doesn't already exist as part of our rollout, it is coming weeks following our initial launch. So, I say that to say, this is a new concept that is part of an inaugural launch. Growing pains are gonna be part of it, but what we're going to do is, as you grow with us, you're gonna see the evolution of this thing go from great to you can't live without it, right? I've been working the project management tool personally for about 2 months. I don't know how I ever did it without this thing, right? And that's 100 projects in. I couldn't go back to what I was doing, Excel spreadsheets and, you know, that type of stuff. But the thing is, project management is available everywhere. Education, we're gonna be rolling out education kind of one of 2 ways. So Gary is one of 3 national educators. We're gonna have a national educator for each subject that's gonna be very specific to different markets. LA and New York, those are similar markets from price points. Dallas and Tampa, similar markets. So we're gonna marry up educators with other markets that are kind of similar in the way the market is performing. So the educators that you're gonna be learning from, even though they may not be local at the time, they're gonna be providing tips on how to navigate markets that have similar price points and similar kind of characteristics. Make sense? You'll also still be able to learn from every subcategory, the core basics, and again, as we're growing, you're gonna start seeing your local educators come on board, guys that are heading the investment clubs, et cetera, et cetera. So you guys are gonna be how we launch into all these different markets, and this is now open nationwide as of Saturday. Any other questions?
Is there a video?
Yes, there is. So our homepage video is 2.5 minutes. It's 2 minutes of this hour-long version of what I just did. So if anyone is interested on the next break, Lauren and I are going to be out front. If y'all want to register, it takes less than 30 seconds, and it's free, like all the way free, like no credit card. Yeah, she doesn't really like me right now. Question.
Why does it say 6 months?
Say it again.
It says 6 months.
I couldn't change it fast enough before you invited me up.
Alright.
Because we decided on Saturday. There's a lot of changes that came Saturday. We decided to make it free now for 6 months, not forever. Right.
We're gonna go into.
It says 6
Yeah, I'm
months,
done.
but
We're gonna
you
go
can
into a
change
break.
it.
They're both, me and
Yeah.
Lauren are both out in the lobby.
We worked out a
in
deal
the,
for me for him to get.
restaurant area there, and everything's set up. So we're gonna come back at 11:25, all right? And then we're gonna hit it hard till lunch, and lunch is 12:30, okay? So you got about a 20-minute break right now, all right? Any questions you need from them, just go out there and you guys can directly.
It's already paid, it's already tipped. You're done?
Yeah, hey, guys, one thing you need to sign up for this if you're gonna do it while you're here, because it's probably not gonna be free outside of here for that. Okay, so it's a little deal.